Welcome to Lance Riggen's Money Mindset, the show where wealth is built with strategy, freedom is created with intention, and legacy starts with the decisions you make today. Hosted by Lance Riggen, this podcast dives into real conversations about investing, entrepreneurship, real estate, mindset, and building a life on your terms. If you're ready to think bigger, move smarter, and take control of your financial future, then you're in the right place. This is Lance Riggen's Money Mindset. Let's get into it. Today we're going to talk about what happens from time you sign the contract to the time you close the deal. I got to move this, sorry. There we go. All right, everybody can see this. So we're going to go back and forth. Let me switch my mic so we can get the dual mic action going. RV Park Acquisition Guide. Okay, guys, we're going to kind of go through some things tonight. Yeah, might go a little over an hour. So if you have other things to do after the hour, that's pretty much what the time allotment is for this. Then we will let you loose, right? You're free to hop off whenever you want. But we're going to try and keep it to about an hour. So what you're going to learn tonight, LOI accepted, right? A PSA. Honey, what is a PSA?
Purchase and sale agreement.
You're going to learn about earnest money, EMD. Number 3 here, due diligence period, right? Which we're in right now on our park in Tennessee. We'll talk a little bit about that. Title and survey. Number 5, financing structure. Number 6, property inspection. 7, clear to close checklist. And then 8, closing day and your first 30 days, right? Because closing is actually when it all starts. Okay, so contract to close. Here we go. Let's get right into it. And feel free to ask questions or raise your hand if anybody has any questions throughout this. You can post them in the chat if you would like, and people are still coming in. It's going to be a good night tonight, a popular Zoom. Oh, hey, Nisa. All right, so guys, oh, sorry, I got to move this. Why is this here? Okay, sorry. All right, so LOI accepted. You're under well, let me get back. Contract to close. Yeah, so green are pro tips, red, watch out, right? That's the red flag. That's when you got to make sure you're yeah, the red means basically you're in the red, right? You're not doing something right. So we're going to tell you what not to do as well, which is really important because everybody talks about what to do right. We want to tell you what some of the shortcomings and some of the pitfalls that we had are, so you can hopefully avoid those. So, what just happened? Okay, seller said yes, but the LOI is not legally binding. It's just a framework, right? So if you submit an LOI, that means it's a letter of intent and you're willing to do what it takes to get this deal under contract. You're just showing the seller or the broker that you're a serious buyer. Okay. It's not a legal binding contract. It doesn't really mean anything except that, hey, I'm a serious buyer, right? You're just letting them know you're intentional. The purchase and sale agreement, PSA, is the real contract. Both parties must sign it. Once that happens, you're under contract. Okay. Once you get that PSA signed, now you're under contract. Now the work, the real work begins. Oh, let's see. Until a PSA is signed, the seller can still entertain other offers, right? So an LOI is not going to stop them from showing other potential buyers. That makes sense, guys? Oh, did you get that?
Yes, son.
You got him? You got him in?
Assistant.
Thank you so much. I just want to make sure nobody's hanging. Does that make sense? So the PSA is signed, right? You're not under contract with an LOI. You're under contract when the purchase and sale agreement is signed by all parties. You want to push to get the PSA signed within 3 to 5 days of sending out your LOI, right? We usually have a timeline. Hey, this offer is good for 5 to 10 business days. You can do it however long you want to, but we don't want to leave it out there and it's good forever. Maybe they go with another contract that falls through and then they call us back. Well, guess what? My offer is going down, right? I'm going to offer them less because they're going to be more hungry for the deal, right? So, and Pace was just talking about it today. Anyone here see Pace's post about the deal falling out of contract and then they locked it up for I don't know. I can't remember how much, like $100,000 less. That was pretty cool. Or no, it was $600,000 less, something crazy. It was a big amount. So, yeah, the EMD is not due until after the PSA is executed. Never wire funds early. Don't ever wire funds, guys. This is a really big one here. Do not ever wire funds unless you know if you're closing with an attorney, right? An attorney's office, knowing who you're wiring funds to
Mhm.
exactly, the office, the location, the address, right? You want to know who the escrow officer is with a title company. You want to know exactly who the person is, not just knowing the title company. Know who your escrow officer is before you wire the funds. Get verbal You want verbal and written
Yeah.
communication. Don't
Mhm.
ever wire until you call and confirm
Yeah.
that you got the wire instructions and everything is good to go. Okay?
Mhm.
Don't ever do that. It's a big, big red flag. Don't ever wire funds into someone's personal account either.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, I'll give you a link to my offshore account today. No, I'm just kidding. So let's see. A pro tip: have a real estate attorney review the PSA before signing, especially contingency language. A $500 review can save you from a $50,000 mistake. Honey, you want to touch on that real quick?
Yeah, so I know a lot of us out there are, trying to acquire our own deals. We're dealing with bird dogs. That's fine until you get to the PSA. So you just want to make sure that the contract, a lot of these parks are going to have agents on them who are going to have commercial contracts, but every now and then, if you're in negotiations directly with the seller, you still want to be on the up and up. You are the professional coming to them. You want to present properly. You want to make sure that you have a really tight deal. So once you get to that PSA, hire an agent to help you fill it out. Go to an attorney to have them review it. Make sure that you were buttoned up from the beginning.
Yes. Yes, yes. And where we go over here. So,
Yep.
what must be in the PSA? Here we go. Exact purchase price and any seller credits or concessions. I can get it. What are seller credits or concessions? The seller might have money in the bank account,
Mm-hmm.
operating expenses. Usually it's not transferable, but sometimes it is.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of deals where they actually have money in the account for
Mm-hmm.
expenses, and that money will transfer. You can negotiate that money to transfer and and use it for operating expenses right out the gate. How cool would that be?
Yeah.
You know, hey, we had when we brought in equity partners on our last park, it was like $60,000, but we took it
Mm-hmm.
out. You know, they didn't negotiate it. We said, "Hey, we want that money," right? So you gotta ask if
Mm-hmm.
it's there, and then you can negotiate that.
Yep.
Here's the thing: anything is negotiable, right? You can write anything up in a contract, well, not anything, but in a JV agreement, you can write up anything.
Yeah.
But you can negotiate a lot of different things. Most people don't think about actually cash being part of it, but that is absolutely can be part of it. So, EMD amount, wire, deadline, and where it's held. Always title company, right? Just touched on that.
Yeah.
Always title company or closing a title attorney
Mm-hmm.
or a real estate attorney can
Yeah.
also close. It just depends on the state. Some states require an attorney. Other states, we can close with title companies. Due diligence period. Exact start date and number of days, right? You need to know, be very clear on that on your contract, how much time you
Mm-hmm.
want on the due diligence period to get your lending lined up, to get your ducks in a row, right? Your check on the park, make sure all the numbers work, go through the numbers again with a fine-tooth comb, bounce the numbers off somebody else, make sure you didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
You want to be going through the profit and loss, the P&Ls, and the that is the P&Ls, the
Yeah.
P&Ls, the profit and loss, and the T12s or
Yeah.
T24s.
Yeah.
All again, anyone here who doesn't know, T12 is a trailing 12, so the last
Mm-hmm.
12 to 24 months on the books that they have.
Yep. And we go over it later too.
We will. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Due diligence period, exact start date and number of days. I just said that. So sorry. Financing contingency protects you. Sorry. Okay. Protects you if the loan falls through.
He hates
I'm
these
not.
that make
Yeah.
them with like
I need.
hundreds
Sorry.
to read
There's not
through.
enough
So
pictures for me. No. So okay. Financing contingency protects you if the loan falls through, honey.
yeah, so if you're doing a bank loan and you're gonna know this at ahead of time, they're going to choose. I give two offers on our LOI. We're going through a commercial loan right now. It's been very eye-opening. We'll
Yeah.
kind of go through some of that throughout this, but
Mhm.
if you put in financing contingency to where if you don't get a loan approved, the park might not qualify. It might have nothing to do with you. It might have everything to do with you as a buyer, but you want to have that in there so that if you cannot get a bank loan on this property, you're able to get your EMD back and you're able to
Yeah.
legally fall out of contract
Right.
and not be at risk of being in breach of contract.
Yeah.
So a financing contingency, if you were going like DSCR,
Mhm.
is very important for you to get, or even a business loan or an
Mhm.
SBA.
Yep.
You want to make sure that you have that.
Yes. Thank you.
Mhm.
What's included in the sale? Is there equipment? Is the furniture? Goodwill? What does that mean? Licenses? Hmm, not sure what that actually means. I got it.
I had AI help me. I don't know why it threw
Okay,
it
sorry.
in there,
Goodwill
just to be
Hunting.
honest, but you will see it. You will see it
That's
on
funny.
the OM sometimes as like FF&E. So that's like furnitures, fixtures, and equipment. That
Mm,
means that it is coming or it isn't. But if you see
right.
that, that's what that term means.
Yeah. Right. Equipment like tractors, right? With this park we're buying in Tennessee comes with a side by side,
Mhm.
right? Pretty cool to cruise around the park.
Yeah.
They did have a little tractor, but they're actually leasing it. They said we could take over the lease for
Mhm.
$200 a month, one of those little bobcats. So you can keep the roads
Mhm.
clean. You could, when the storms come in, whatever, you can clear things up. Really useful. Okay, so let's see. Closing date. So you want to just be really clear on what all comes with it, right? If you see a tractor and a vehicle with the logo on it, and you
Mhm.
see the side by side and other tools and things, you want to be really really clear about, hey, does all this come? Does everything transfer with the
Mhm.
sale? What are you planning to keep? And you can adjust your price if you need to accordingly.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, the park that we have in Midland, it came with some RVs that we just recently sold, but I put each of them on the purchase and sale agreement. So I made sure that any of the manufactured homes that were owned by the park, that I got their serial numbers, and I just wanted to like double, triple layer, make sure that I was being very cautious. So I put
Mhm.
all of the RV VIN numbers, or at least a description of them. Some of them didn't have titles, and the owner was like, I don't know where it is. So I at least made sure that there was line items for each RV with the best description or VIN number that I could. Did the same thing with the mobile homes. That way, during title, there was no sort of discrepancy on what I was actually having conveyed to us upon sale.
Mm. Yes, Mike, go ahead.
Would you put something in here also, like if there's if the park has an on-site manager that might stay on board for a period of time after closing? Would you put that in the PSA as well? That that this person, or that this agency is staying on board to help with the transition.
I might do that in a side contract because the title in the park purchase is for assets, and a person and their position isn't necessarily that. I would draft a contract ahead of time and try and get that executed at sale or prior to that. Maybe you have the seller do a non-compete so they don't take your manager away to maybe another park they have up the road. You could do that.
Okay.
You contract with the manager, hey, I want you on for this long. I would do it congruently, but I would not do it with the PSA
Okay. Thank you.
personally.
Congruently, I like that. We're using big words tonight. No,
Man.
I know, I'm just kidding. Okay, thanks, Mike. Great question. I just saw somebody had is that your first deal under contract, Chris? Congratulations, brother. Let's see. So, guys, what not to do, right? Watch out. Do not ever, 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 under any circumstance, wire EMD until the PSA is signed by both parties. Both parties. Verbal LOI acceptance means absolutely nothing legally. It's not a legal binding contract. So I can't emphasize that enough. I've had people, come into our communities, our paid communities that a lot of us are in here, and offer to just send money. And I go, no, whoa, whoa, whoa. Have you been on any of the trainings, right? You don't ever do that. Big, big red flag. So we don't ever want to do that. Earnest money deposit. Okay. Show them you are serious, but protect yourself with the right verbiage, right language. EMD basics, typically 1 to 3, and this is small stuff that people don't, you don't hear about this stuff, right? We want to teach you, kind of show you stuff that we've learned, some of the stuff the hard way. We've lost money on EMDs in the past. So our very first EMD we funded personally, we lost it because we didn't structure it properly, almost 4 years ago. Typically 1 to 3% of the purchase price, right? Signals that you are a serious buyer. I am rarely going to put down more than 1%, right? 1% is really what I'm comfortable with. Yeah. I mean, if you're buying a $30,000-$40,000 property and going to flip it, I mean, but you can actually get properties without EMD, small properties. People do it all the time. It's not a really good, I don't know, it's not a really good faith type of thing to do. A lot of people frown upon it, but there are a lot of wholesalers out there who I'm not going to dog on wholesalers too much, but they kind of get down and dirty. It's not really, it's a good faith payment. And it shows that you're serious. If there's a broker involved, you're not going to get out of paying EMD, right? If you're going direct to seller, you can say, hey, here's 5,000, here's 10 grand. You can make up whatever, right? Feels comfortable with them. But anytime an agent or a broker is involved, they're going to want that minimum 1% EMD. Okay.
Yep.
All right. You got it?
Yep.
I got it. Did you get it? I got it. Okay. Always wired to a neutral third party, title company or attorney, escrow, never directly to the seller. We just talked about that. Must be wired within the time frame on your PSA. That's really important. Usually you have about 5 business days, right? 3 to 5 business days, okay, to wire the MD after the contract is signed by both parties. So you got to know this stuff. You want to know, okay, it says 1 to 3 days, but usually we get up to 5. I've had up to 5. Get wire instructions in writing from title. Okay, call to verbally verify before sending the wire. Again, went over that, right? It's just because it's muscle memory at this point. It's just smart business. And I'll tell you about our first DMD deal, how we lost our money. It's because
quick story.
Yeah, real quick story. Hey, this might be a 2-part series, guys. So it's important though to tell real stories. Okay, this is important because we lost 10 grand. Our partners each lost $25,000 on this deal. It was wired to the title company. The guy was a smooth criminal, career criminal who was stealing pensions and old ladies' money and old man's money, like retirement money. Didn't find out until it was too late. But this guy had figured out a really good, this guy would have been really successful legitimately, right? He was sharp dude, super sharp dude, smooth talker, great salesman. He sold us, right? So we wired our funds to the escrow officer, to the title company. He was able to get in there and have them move funds to a sister company across town, same city, but across town. So technically it was the same company, but it was a different escrow officer, right? And he was able to get those funds to go hard and pull them out without us giving the okay.
Because when the file transferred, all of our Gator EMD paperwork did not follow with it. So it appeared when it arrived there that it was his money that he had put in there, and he's like, I don't want to buy the furniture for the house, just give my EMD back. So
it was bad.
Yeah.
So anyways, you got to hear the war stories. That's how you learn from our mistakes, right? So always wired to, okay, must be wired within the time frame. Okay, sorry. Get wire instructions in writing from title. Call in verbally before sending. Save your wire confirmation receipt. You will need it at closing. Do you want to touch on any of that? We good?
No, that's fine.
Okay, refundable versus non-refundable. And guys, I can't see the comment section, so if you have a question, raise your virtual hands, okay? Raise your virtual hand in here. It's at the bottom of your screen. Refundable during due diligence period. You can walk for any reason and get 100% back, no questions asked. The deal we're in now, we're actually buying it from a wholesale team, right? Who specializes in Morby methods, which is our first Morby method. So super stoked about it. And we're not going to go into what a Morby method is tonight. Maybe we'll do that another day after we close this. I'd like to do some Morby method trainings. We've almost closed on a Morby method before. But anyhow, these guys were smart. They wrote it up to where if we can't get funding on the first leg of the transaction, our due diligence period never ends. Our EMD never goes hard. So if for whatever reason we can't get a DSCR loan or an SBA loan approved, we get our EMD back, right? Pretty cool. So you can write it up that way. You can write it up in a manner that makes sense for everybody, and that's a smart way to write it up. I'd never actually seen anyone write it up that way. I was very happy when I saw that. So it goes hard. Oh, I'm sorry, refundable during the due diligence. Yeah, so goes hard once due diligence expires. So know your timelines, right? You got to know exactly what that looks like, and make sure if you're bringing a gator lender in or a transactional lender that they're aware that it goes hard at a certain, or you're going to give them a window for the EMD to get paid back, and then you want to make sure you're communicating with them, or if it's your own money. Either way, it's really, really important to know. Okay. So it's non-refundable unless there's a contingency. Okay. And so again, you're writing it up, right? It's an addendum, right, to the contract, or you're just writing it into the contract.
You would just put it in there. It may have to go on an addendum. It depends what state you're buying in and what their contracts look like. But
Right.
addendums are easy to add. So
Oops, sorry.
the next one's really good. Know your exact DD expiration. And let me, during this time is a really crucial for me to stress, get a TC. Please
Right here.
don't TC your own deal.
Yeah.
Um,
Need to start with that, actually.
especially if you're on a mortgage, you will blow the deal, and you could potentially put yourself in a position where you're committing mortgage fraud. Do not ever do a mortgage deal by yourself. I know that there are some TCs that are here. I don't know if my friend is here tonight, but there are plenty of TCs in the community that will do it for you. Be happy to do that. Always have a TC. They're going to look over a lot of these things. You're hiring them. They're working for you. They're going to look over all your documents, explain anything to you. They are going to kind of be your gatekeeper. They're going to say, are you ready to go? This looks good. Okay. And then you guys go together. So that's really important. We have a wonderful TC on this deal that kind of came with the package for our Morby.
Yeah.
And he has a calendar set for notifications, and he's checking in with me every few days. We have this to go through. We have this to go through. And I've TC'd my own deals. I will never TC a Morby deal or something this large. It is beyond my pay grade. So just wanted to remind everybody, get a TC, but know also what the deal looks like. Just don't go into it trusting that your TC is just gonna, make everything smooth for you, because this is still ultimately your deal. You need to know what it looks like. You need to be the active part of getting documents. Your TC is not going to go and get a loan for you. Please don't expect them to.
They're also not writing contracts.
They're not
That's not
writing
their job.
contracts.
So
They're not going to go and find your PML for you either. They are there to make sure that things are done correctly and legally.
Yeah,
do not make them. Don't ask them to do.
Is this
things
a good
that
deal?
It's not in there.
It's not their job to tell you if it's a good deal or not. It's funny. We hear all kinds of stories. Also, I should have started with this: educational content only. Right? This is not legal or financial advice.
That's right.
I don't want to ever get in trouble. This is stuff that we've gone through, that we're learning along the way. So, so know your exact. I wanted to say this. I like this, to set your calendar 5 days and 1 day before your due diligence period ends. Right. So you don't, if it's not going to happen for a few weeks, and you just see the writing on the wall, it's not a good idea to extend right away. I like to get closer to the end of the due diligence period to then go say, hey, look, it's just not going to happen. We need an extension, right? I mean, not the very last day, but you want within a few days. That's how I like to do it. 99.9% of the time you're going to get that extension. Not always, though, I'm sure. But if you're doing business with a broker, they'll understand. They'll relay it to the seller, right? And the seller's the best option is to extend, right, with your contract or your due diligence, because otherwise you're starting all over trying to find another seller or a buyer, and it's just another whole 30, 60, 90 days of waiting and trying to get a lender in place. So anyways, let's see. I like the pro tip, Red, watch out. Let's see. All right, cool. So due diligence period, 30 to 45 days.
And you can make it whatever you want to. You can make it 60 days if it's a really rough park, or if you're having trouble, scheduling. an inspector for the septic or for whatever. Maybe it's, maybe there's 3 feet of snow and you need to wait till the snow melts. I mean, like Lance said, everything's negotiable. 30 to 45 days should be sufficient to do your due diligence on a commercial property.
Right. Yeah. Your window, let's say 30. Yeah, that's the window, right? So, treat it like a forensic audit, no shortcuts. That's funny. That's great. Financials, follow the money. P&L, trailing 12 months, actual, not per forma. That should be without saying, but P&L prior 2 to 3 years, look for trends and dips. Yeah, so that's a big one, right?
Peggy has a question real quick.
Peggy has a question real quick. Yes, Peggy. Hello.
Hello. In regards to your due diligence, because this is like an RV park or manufactured home park, if the park owns the homes, do you do due diligence on all the different homes? What do you do there?
Yeah, I would only do the due diligence on what you're buying. So if there's a tenant-owned home, you're not responsible for the repairs. So if their roof is failing, your insurance isn't, you're not liable for it, and it might make your park look bad, but you're not going to have to repair it. So it needs to be the park's infrastructure, the park's financials, and then any vertical buildings on the ground. That's what you're going to want to really do due diligence on, because that's everything you're responsible for replacing or maintaining.
So
Yeah.
are you trying to buy parks that are tenant-owned homes?
We
TOH?
want a majority of tenant-owned homes.
Yeah, if it's
There's,
a mobile home park,
if
yeah,
it's a mobile
for
home.
sure. 75% at least, 75 to 80%. That's what we like to see.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's all in your due diligence? Is it equipment? Like you're saying, the septic, if they're on a septic, have the septic checked. If they're on a well, do you have the well checked? I mean, what's all in the due diligence part?
Yeah, I have a list on my underwriting sheet. I'd be happy to send you. It's all of the above, right? And it depends. Is this park on city water and sewer? Then I don't have to do that, and that's a huge savings, because I think we paid $3,500 to have some of the septics, not all of them, inspected on the park. We didn't do anything with the wells or any in Texas. We didn't do any sort of DEQ water testing. That would have been like 15 grand, but nobody had gotten sick. I think that, that's something that you're going to want to take case by case. Definitely want to look into the financials. You're really going to need to dig into those. I have a huge list. These are just like the basics. This is kind of like a crash course. Would be a lot longer if we were to go through everything in finite measure.
Oh yeah, we don't have time to do that tonight, but yeah, that's definitely a whole 20-30 minute conversation.
Peggy, I think you're on the right thought process.
Yeah, no, and also, mobile home parks and RV parks are a lot different. There's a lot of similarities, but there's a lot of differences as well. With mobile home parks, you're not getting equipments typically in tractors and things like that most of the time. Not that I've seen anyway, but I did want to say, the due diligence phase is also a good time to get to know the sellers. Like that's something we've taken advantage of. I tell the broker, look, hey guys, the wholesaler, the broker, we're under contract. You've got my EMD. I need to talk to these guys and get to know them a little bit, especially if it's seller finance. You're going, you're getting married to these guys, right? You're going to be basically married to them for in our case, 10 years. We're going to, be making payments to them. So I want to know who I'm, buying this property from, right? What if they're total jerks or weird or like, I don't know. If it just doesn't feel right, I'm not going to buy the property, even if it's a great deal. I don't want to go into a deal knowing that the seller is a total lunatic, right? Or just a total jerk, right? I'll walk away. So it's not smart to walk into something like that, in my opinion.
When you guys got accepted, did you fly down and see the park?
We had a partner, one of our friends actually.
On what park?
Yeah, this one.
Now, this one, yeah.
On the one that you're buying.
Yeah, we had a friend of ours who was actually traveling through there, funny enough,
Mhm.
and he took a
Oh,
bunch of video and drone footage for us. So it was pretty cool. Everything
Yeah.
looked great. But we're gonna go out next week. We're waiting. We're waiting on our terms. Long story short, we had to find a new lender,
Yeah.
and so we're waiting on terms. Hopefully, terms are coming in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
So then we'll go out there. Once we have that, we're gonna actually drive out. It's like 12 hours. We're gonna actually pull our trailer out there and camp at the RV
We're
park
gonna
to
get
see
the
how everything's going.
experience.
Yeah. So
nice.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yes, thank you, Peggy. And I apologize, Peggy. I've talked to you several times. I'm so sorry. I'm like, oh hi, where are you from?
He told
Uh,
people,
little
please keep him
short-term
great.
memory problem there. Okay. Hey, Jim, what's up, buddy? Can you unmute yourself? Oh, where'd you go? I
Well,
lost you.
you know, I,
Oh, there you
I
go.
only did IT for 3 decades, but I can't find the unmute button. No, I was just curious, ballpark what you guys set aside for all the stuff you have to do before you actually agree to buy it. All of your due diligence costs. Is that something you earmark like 20 grand for each park, or what are you thinking?
For our specific buy box, I'm going to say about 25 grand. Inspections, can be 3,500, upwards of 6 or 7, depending on how many septics. If you're doing that, if you have a couple of buildings that you own that you're a little shaky on,
Right.
and you want to get an actual home inspector out there.
Mhm.
So I would say, and then you have, so then of course you have the EMD costs up front. You may have to have your attorney draft paperwork prior to closing. So there could be attorney costs, whether it's an operating agreement, to do a partnership or some sort of contract, with the seller, because you're going to get a deed, on a seller carry back and a promissory note, but you might want some paperwork up front, like the PSA looked at as well. I think that 25 grand is probably pretty hefty, but you just never know. I think that it's safe, to just kind of have that kitty. And then an appraisal. An appraisal is one of the other costs that you have to, if you're going with a loan, that you're going to have to pay for up front. And maybe you're doing seller finance and you still want an appraisal. Maybe you just want to see what it's worth. So that's probably going to be, I've gotten quotes between 3,500 and 10,000, which is a pretty large delta. So just have a little bit more than you need. So if something comes up, you're not surprised.
Yeah.
Yep, makes sense. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get through all this tonight. What time is it?
Maybe 7:40.
Oh yeah, that's okay. We'll break this up. We'll get you these slides too. If I don't think we're gonna get through all this tonight, but I want to get into detail with you guys, right? So we will get you the slides, and then we can finish this up next week, as well. So,
Yeah.
bank statements, 12 months, tax returns, 2 to 3 years, rent roll, every site, rate, tenant, and status. We want the rent roll. We need detailed information here, not a bunch of scratch, on a piece of paper. If you get a rent roll and it looks like that, you're in trouble, right? You're gonna have to do some really deep due diligence on it, and it's not uncommon. So we've we've seen some deals where it's just like stacks of papers, like handwritten notes on everything. I'm like, oh man. So utility bills, insurance policy, full claims history. Has there been any claims in the park, right? What does the insurance policy look like? This park we're buying has a pretty hefty insurance bill, on it, doesn't it? Yeah, the insurance bill is pretty
22,000 a year.
$22,000. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big park though, 38 acres, right? So 22 of them are being used right now currently. Any outstanding loans, liens, judgments, UCC1 liens? Is there any contractor liens? Are there any liens, period? That is a really, really important thing to look at. You don't hear about this stuff very often because people just aren't actually doing it. We are doing it, and we're not just talking about it. So,
And keep in mind, title's going to do a title search for you. That's on the bottom of this page. But stuff may pop up, at some point during the DD period. we were I'm still kind of working on another park that maybe, our Q2 acquisition. They have an underlying seller note that they're already talked to that original seller about. They're willing to subordinate. Sorry, not subordinate. They're willing to let the next buyer assume it. So, just side note.
Oh, Kriya Leffler. Oh, is that
It's
Chris's
Chris.
sister? Oh, okay. The Goodwill brand reputation customer. Thank you, Chris, for that. Anyway, that's funny. Kriya. You gotta fix that, buddy. All right.
I'll kick him, Chris.
Okay. Operations. Know what you're buying. Okay. Site map with site numbers and types. Percentage of long-term tenants versus short-term tenants. Okay. Manage your details. Pay contract on site. Let's touch on this management part, right? This park we're buying now. Well, I don't want to go into the last park. It was messy. We went through two management people, and they both were not good. The first one was really bad, toxic. The
You don't want to
second,
go into it, but you're going.
the second, well, I'm just
Let's make-
touching. I'm touching on it. I'm not going deep. Okay. The second one didn't really do good either. So, management's key. It's hard. It's tough, right? You want to start looking for management or meet before you need them. We had a handful of people reach out to me for management positions. I started marketing for management or slash host in the RV park groups, right? In those groups that we're in, Facebook groups, and I got couple handfuls of people that I got to talk to, and we got to narrow it down to an awesome couple. I think one of them might be in here, but there was a couple of really good options that we kind of nailed down, and so management's important. This new park that we're buying has people in place. They don't have a manager. They have someone to do there's like 20 pads that don't have septic. So there's a guy that pumps those, with a tank, like once a week, right? Pumps those people who are staying. And then there's someone who does groundskeeping, several times a month. And they have someone who watches the store for them and takes the reservations, right? But they're still there on site doing a lot of the work. So you want to make sure your operations are clean. So we might keep some of them on. We might let some of them go, right? They really like a couple of the people and they would like for them to stay on. The last thing we want to do is ruffle a bunch of feathers and piss people off, right? We want a smooth transition, right? So we're not going to start doing all these things right out the gate. We're going to slowly implement some changes and solutions to maybe potential issues on spending and things like that.
Yeah. Real quick, Chad asked in the chat, what is the bonding process and fees for getting utilities transferred? I have not heard that term, the bonding process before, but I'll tell you, at our last park, because we didn't have to worry about, water or sewer, but it was very simple. I just called one of the electric companies in Texas and said, hey, I'm purchasing this park. I want you to switch all the utilities to my name on this date. And then once we closed, so it was very simple.
Bonding.
Standard deposits applied.
Bonding, and maybe he's talking about permitting. Is that what you mean, like permits? By bonding?
Can you
hear me?
clarify? There
Yes,
you go.
yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that you've had to go through a bonding process because these utilities, especially electric, is quite expensive when you've got 50 to 100 pads, and that there's quite a process with the bonding and deposits that you have to put down to get them transferred.
So for us, it was not that way. We have 6 accounts for our park.
Mm-hmm.
They know it's a park and it's in Midland. So for us, it was very simple. It may be different
If you're building a park, maybe? I don't know. I haven't heard that.
It may be different on this next park. But that has not been my experience yet.
Yeah.
Could be state specific too, I guess, right?
Could be.
Yeah, could be. It's definitely food for thought.
Well, we're still learning too, right?
Yeah.
So we're always going to be learning. But thank you for that. Let's see. Okay, guys, let's get into this. All vendor and contractor relationships. What is that? Oh, okay. All vendors. So you want to know who they've been dealing with, and you want the contacts, right? To the contractors, vendors, ice machines, vending machines, store, whoever they're using to fill the store, those types of things, right? Park rule. We're getting into the nitty gritty. Like this is pretty nitty gritty here. Park rules and all the lease agreements. Physically verify occupancy. Count yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, count yourself. Okay, that was funny. Any problem tenants or ongoing disputes. That's a good one, right? And we've been talking to them about this kind of stuff. And there's the one guy that pumps the crappers, right? They're like, he could stay or go. I don't know. He's kind of an odd guy, you know. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. So mental note, right? And we took note of that. I'm probably it sounds like not someone I want to keep around very long, but we'll see.
So I just want to butt in real quick. So this is the nitty gritty because it's all fun to do the underwriting and to send out the LOIs, but when you get under contract, it's very serious for the seller. They want to sell their park, but it's very serious for you. You're about to commit, to buying a $2, $3, $4, $5 million park. Maybe it's a $750,000 park. Maybe it's a smaller one that's still an incredible amount of money. You really want to make sure that you're not taking a bath with this park. You want to know, and a lot of sellers will not disclose a lot of these things prior to you being under contract. That's why you have the due diligence period. So I know we're in the minutia, but your due diligence period is when you're in that, when you were really trying to find out everything about the park, because it's stressful. It's a huge deal. It's not just like, oh, send in LOIs and buy a park here, buy a park there. That may be how it's talked about. And on a 1,000-foot view, that's what it looks like. But you really have to get into all of these details when you're buying a park.
It's funny when you follow Pace Morby, right? It's like the Oprah Winfrey out there. You get a park, you get a park, you get a park. Everybody gets a park. But it's not easy, guys. It's hard work, and you've got to be on your game. And if you're not a good underwriter, definitely hire or pay an underwriter to help you.
We have 13 minutes.
And you have chat. Okay, well, let's get a consensus really quick. In the chat, guys, give me a 1 if you want to hang out. If you want to hang out and finish this Zoom and finish this slide, I'm totally down to do that. Give me a 2 in the chat if you want to break it up and we can finish it next week. I'm open to staying on if you guys want to, but if a lot of you have to leave, I want to go ahead and be respectful of your time.
Okay, everyone's saying ones.
Okay, come on. Let's go.
Awesome.
All
Cool.
right.
Okay, I just want to be respectful of everyone's time too. We don't
My
mind.
people. Guys, you guys are awesome. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so property. Yeah?
I do have an 8:30.
Okay. Title report, honey. We're good. Physical condition, title report. Wait, yeah, I got through the other one. Title report and survey. Okay. Make sure you get that title report. Super important.
Yeah.
And the survey. You want to see the land. You want to see the layout of the land. It's really important that you have that. Zoning. This is good. RV parks must be permitted. Use must be permitted. Not only that, but if you plan on buying a park with extra acreage, like we like to, that's one of our big pluses. If it's got an extra acreage, you got to make sure it's zoned for whatever you plan on doing with that land. You've got to make sure that it can get permitted and it can get the zoning's proper for that. That's a big deal right there. Recent capital improvements and costs, right? This property we're buying is 4 years old. Who here would love to buy a 4-year-old park? All new infrastructure. Yeah, right? So we don't have to worry about a lot of the stuff that we did on our last deal. Recent capital improvements. Yeah, I just said that. Sorry. Deferred maintenance list plus estimates. Okay. What have you been neglecting? They're probably not going to just come out and tell you, oh, we've done a horrible job maintaining this property, but you'll find out when you get a contractor out there when you walk the property. Septic water system inspection. Okay. We spent 30 grand on our Midland Park with septic problems, issues that we had. Drain fields. Yeah, it had drain field septic. And then the pump house froze during the first winter. And we had one of the tenants go in there and try and loosen up the pipes, end up breaking some pipes. And so we had to put a lock on it and a heater in there and everything else, but insulated it. But it was a lot of learning, right? We learned a lot. Let's see. Yeah, septic and water is big. You definitely want to do that, especially if the park is older. I would do it anyways, just get it done. All permits and licenses, current and valid, super important. Pending violations. citations, lawsuits of any sort, right? Electrical panels, age, capacity, condition. You want to know if it's 30, 50 amp. You want to know if you've got full hookups, what the capacity is on the septic.
Mhm.
Okay.
Here's the other thing. Your
Those are
due
note
diligence
takers.
period is also furthering your negotiation period. So you agree on a price that's on the PSA, but you have, just like buying a residential home, you get to have your period where you get to go and look at the house and see if the seller was blowing smoke, and if there are repairs that need to be made. And then you come back to them and say, hey, you know, we have this issue, this issue, this issue. This is where you're asking for a credit, you know, a concession. I want you to put, you know, 15,000 into a repair account. That's what we actually did at the Midland Park. We started getting a little shaky right before closing. We were seeing a little bit of water pool up in a couple of areas. And we said, hey, you know, we had him replace one drain field before we even closed, and he was like, that's it, I'm not doing it anymore, because it was $5,500 a pop. And we were like, no, we think that there's two other ones that need repairs and maybe a third. And we said, we want you to put 15,000 into a repair account, and we have up to a year to use that. And if we don't use it for those 3 septic drain fields, then you can have it back. And he was like, okay, well, we knew they were failing. He was in denial, and we used all that money in 45 days.
Yeah.
So, but it was there.
Mhm.
So your
Right.
DD period is for further negotiations, so that you're not paying out a ton of repairs at
Mhm.
closing,
Yeah. Got it.
potentially.
Okay. Potentially. Yeah. So it was nice, right? It was slightly terrifying, to be honest with you, when we started eating up that reserve. But thank God we had it in there, because everything ended up working out. Watch out, sellers. Sellers will be slow to deliver documents. The
Yeah.
DD due diligence clock runs whether you have docs or not. Follow up daily. No financials equals major red flags. Not an excuse. Okay. Key question: why are you selling? Retirement. Retirement, usually clean, partnership dispute, or financial trouble. Dig deeper and look for what they're hiding.
And hopefully you can find out the answers to these questions prior to going under contract. You may find out some, you know, gossip after. So it's like Lance said, continue the relationship with the seller, whether they're doing seller financing or not. They're going to be your key to really understanding how this park works, if they've, you know, had it for any reasonable amount of time.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Title and survey. I'm going to take over for this one. So
Get it, girl.
confirm what you were buying, that you were buying exactly what you think you were buying. You're going to want to make sure that you, in your due diligence, prior to actually contracting, it's always good to go to the county and check out local, like CAD maps, to see, you know, what the lot lines are for what you're buying. You can go to any county's CAD map. Title is going to verify that, but you always want to make sure that you're getting the correct lots written out on your purchase and sale agreement, so you don't have to go back and do another addendum. Some parks will be on more than one tax lot, so keep that in mind. Just do that double checking. Title is going to tell you if there was an error made. They're going to say at that point, you know, hey, there's another tax lot that's not on the PSA, or there's, you know, a discrepancy. They're going to let you know any unpaid liens, judgments, easements, disputes. On a park this large, it shouldn't necessarily matter from the buyer's standpoint, but you never know how many years they haven't paid taxes. You know, they might bail. This is a point in some deals where the deal doesn't make it any further, just because of liens that people don't know about. Any cloud on title has to be cleared. That will extend your closing, and there's nothing that anybody can do about it. Both parties are usually pretty understanding. If they're trying to get maybe a lien release from a prior senior debt on the property that's since been paid off, they can be slow with that. So, you know, speed bumps are going to come up in your closing. there's sometimes something you can do about it. Other times it's completely out of your control. So title insurance, please always buy title insurance. You always want to make sure that you have that, especially on a park. These are really large assets. There's a lot of working parts. It's much more complex than a single family home. Title should order your the title search within the first week of it being open, but have your TC make sure that they're on it, because there are, there could be personal property on in Texas, mobile home is considered personal property, not necessarily real estate. So they have to check a couple different places. It takes them longer than it does to do a single family. Survey. A lot of lenders are going to require you to get a new survey unless there's a very recent one on file. And even if there is, the lender might just say, I don't even care, just do a new one. I know a lot of these parks are probably going to be seller finance, but if you do go DSCR, they are getting a little bit tougher. That's going to have to be done through closing. And it's a good thing. You're going to know exactly where your lot lines are. They're going to make sure they catch any or sort of encroachment or easement issue. They're going to identify easements that maybe weren't very clear, utility lines, access roads. Things change as there's ownership too, and they're added. Like I said, it's required by most lenders. And then if acreage is less than advertised, you have grounds to renegotiate price or potentially pull out of the contract if it's been misconstrued is what you're buying. So, okay.
Good job, honey. Man, she's a rock star, isn't she? Whoa. Bet you wish you had her on your team. All right. Well, some of you might. So before we move on to the slide, I just want to put a quick plug in here.
Okay.
I've got a couple of students with me, Jim and Mike, had joined our RV Park Blueprint coaching program. So congratulations, guys. I also wanted to let everybody on here know that we are taking, I think we have got 4 students now. We're going eight students. So we're looking for 4 more. If you are interested in some hand holding and coaching, please drop your contact in the chat, reach out to us, but I'll get on a call with you if you're interested in that. But we're going to take you through an 8-week course, right? Where we're going to show you how to do this in detail. We're going to be available for phone calls to get on calls with sellers, brokers, and help you get deals, guys. So if you're interested in working with us and coming on board with us and learning how to really get in depth on these things and get some parks under your belt and build a legacy for your family, please reach out. I'd love to talk to you.
So I'm going to do this one.
Okay.
I'll do part of 5. So bank commercial. So this is one of the first very large commercial loans we've ever done. It's been incredibly eye-opening. There's been a lot to it. So and banks, SBA, they are completely viable ways to get parks. The timeline is going to be a little bit longer with an SBA, but they will probably give you the best financing from what I've heard, although they could take 4 to 6 months. So keep that in mind. You want to have your ducks in a row. You want to make sure that you have a package as you're identifying lenders. You want everything from the park, the purchase and sale agreement, all the P&Ls, everything that you got ahead of actually going into your purchase and sale contract needs to go into that file. Hopefully you're kind of screening lenders up to the point where you get a PSA, because that's also part of your due diligence. You need to get your terms at that point. I would make a Google Drive. You're also going to want to have kind of a Dun and Bradstreet on yourself too for your lenders to look at. It has taken us close to 45 days to get a term sheet on this park.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Nothing wrong with the park. The thing is, everybody loves the park. To be honest, I'm going to give you guys a little Easter egg. Some of the banks are cracking down on Morbies. Probably a story for another day, but there are many different factors on why people are tightening up right now. I think everybody on the call can understand the current atmosphere, and that's a part of it. But Morbies can be a little bit more risky. And they really want to see, what your track record is. So if you have not owned a park before, you're really going to want to try and find somebody who has owned a park, who's willing to maybe partner up with you. If you're dealing directly with the seller, it's going to be a lot easier on a seller finance. You're going to be able to gain their trust and show them that you can do a good job. And please do your best Don't just buy the park and let it fail. But you're really going to have that verifiable track record if you're going with a bank. So
Experience, yeah.
it's a hard asset class to run. So,
They want to see experience that you've
Yeah.
owned a park before, or that, or you have to bring someone in who has at least owned one park. And they want to see a track record.
Yeah.
So it's not easy. It's not easy to get a loan on one of these things, or that you've owned it for a year. That's another one of the things that they like to see.
Yeah. I'm not saying this to discourage anybody. It's definitely doable. We've done it. We just want you guys to be very aware of some of the questions that are going to come your way. Get the commitment letter. Banks require 3 to 6 months payments in reserves, not always, but sometimes they're going to. So make sure that you're factoring that into your numbers, whether you have your own funds or whether you're bringing maybe a money partner in, a money friend in. Make sure that you should always have a war chest of reserves, but with the bank loan, they might want you to have a little bit of an extra kitty off to the side, and start that day one too. A lot of lenders will not give you a term sheet unless you actually have a PSA, but if you can start building that momentum, by the time you do get the park under contract, one of the gentlemen in here, I think, had just gotten a park under contract. Congrats.
Chris, right? Yeah.
Somebody, but get your file, get your paperwork all in order so that you can send it out.
Got it. I get to get on the seller finance.
Okay, that's fine.
That's my jam, baby. Come on. The seller finance. This is what I love the most, right? Who here would love to get a 100% seller finance deal on an RV park? Yeah, I would. I did. We did that. That's how we got our last one. Seller finance is my absolute favorite way to get deals. The house we're living in right now is a seller finance deal, and we've been paying interest-only payments for the last 3.5 years. Low payments. So people ask, why the heck would you do that? Because I want to keep my money in my pocket. That's why. Okay. Negotiate the promissory note to note terms during the due diligence, not after. And guys, if you have any questions throughout this, please raise your hand and hop in. Push for 0 to 3% interest, 30-year AM, 10-year balloon. Balloons are for clowns, right? We don't mention balloon payments at all unless they bring it up. The only time we negotiate balloon payments is if the seller brings it up. I'm never going to offer a balloon payment. So you start at 10 years though. Don't ever offer a 3 or a 5-year balloon. That is the horrible, horrible idea. Okay, so we actually have a 0% seller carryback deal in San Diego, and we have a 3% interest here on 3 duplexes that we own in Tyler that I was able to negotiate for us. So the way you negotiate 0 interest or 3% low interest is you don't say interest when you're talking about the payments in the contract and the verbiage. You just give them the payment. Here's what the payment will look like. Here's the 30-year AM schedule, and let them know what the math equates to. And don't mention no interest. Don't ever say no interest. Don't ever say principal only. Okay, those two things will bring it to their attention. We're just going to simply say, here would be your payment, right, and move forward. That's how you get no interest loans on seller finance or seller carrybacks. Request interest only period for 1 year. That is a big one. 1 to 2 years you can do. Helps cash flow at the transition, right? It puts money in your pocket. It gives you time to put everything together and to increase rents and do everything that you need if it's lower cash flow, especially.
Or you can request, a 12-month no payment. Sometimes that is available. It just depends how much you're giving the seller.
That's what we're getting.
What they need.
We're getting that on our park. We're buying no payments to the seller for the first year.
12 months.
We're unstable. We good, guys? Let us know for freezing up. My internet's getting weird. Turn our Wi-Fi's off on our phones. We're in the country, so if we get a little spotty, let me know. Seller note recorded as a lien protects both parties. I'm going to breeze through some of this stuff. We'll send you the slides.
Yeah.
Attorney drafts a promissory note and a deed of trust. Pretty self-explanatory. Get seller to agree to subordinate if you plan to refinance later. So what that means is if you plan on doing a Morby method, right? You need to get a bank loan. They're going to have to subordinate and go into second position. Or, right, the other option is to, honey? Sorry, it's to get them on the. You put them in an equity position, right? Rather than that, there's a term for it that was slipping my brain. That's why I was trying to
Pref
throw you.
equity.
Yeah, pref equity position. Thank you. That's the one. Okay, so that's the other option. If they don't want to get into second position, you might ask, well, why would they have to go into second position? Because the bank, if you're getting a bank loan on a Morby method or a stack method, right? The bank goes into first position.
Mhm.
So does that make sense?
Yep.
So that's one of the hardest parts with a stack method or Morby method is getting the seller to subordinate into second position or that equity position. Private lender or partnership. Okay, this is really good. This is how we've done most of all of our deals. We've used little to none of our own money on most of our deals, and if we do use our own money, we're going to get it back at some point, typically with a partner. So our very first deal 12 years ago was a private money lender. I paid him 10% for $100,000 and we did our first flip. So individual or entity lending capital outside bank. Yeah, right. Oh, that's what it is. We're explaining what that is. Sorry. Terms are negotiable, flat fee, interest only, profit share. Okay. So obviously, equity partnerships are a big thing. If you don't have the funds and especially if somebody has more experience than you, then maybe they'll come in and they can be an experienced operator or an experienced equity partner. A lot of people who have the money, they don't want to run the park. They don't want to, teach you how to do anything. They want to write a check and you do the work. So sometimes you'll need to find a partner who can do the work for you or who can come in and be an operator. You cut them in on the deal and you make everything work. Get everything in a signed agreement. Okay, amount, rate, term, repayment. Everything needs to be upfront and discussed. It's super important. You have all these conversations up front with your partners, exactly what they're getting, what kind of monthly cash flow, quarterly cash flow disbursements, how much they're getting at the end of the deal, right? Things like that. It's super important to make sure everybody's on the same page. And we try to be very, very transparent too, and we want everyone to win too, right? So we're never going to be greedy. We're always open to negotiate. Problem is, whoever's sitting across me, I'm pretty sure I'm better at negotiating than them. So if it's you, yeah, good luck. But let's see, get everything signed. Amount, rate, term. Typical return is 8 to 15% annualized or flat dollar amount. Know if it is a secured lien or shared ownership. Never agree to private money terms verbally, paper trail only. So, well, you can do a verbal agreement, but it's got to be in writing at some point, right? So,
yeah, it should be in writing prior to a transfer of funds. If it's verbal, that's
Bingo.
one thing, but yeah, it can stay verbal until you actually move money, and that's when it really needs to be documented and signed off on, not just some email. And real quick, you can do a partnership and a secured lien on the right deal. Our Midland Park, our partner came in with 200K. It was seller finance, and he had paid the park off a long time ago, so he was already in first position. We put our partner in second position, even though she was a 50-50 partner, because what that did is it captured equity in the park, so that if we did a refinance later, it would be easier for her to pull out that capital. It also secures the property against any sort of litigation, anything like that. It is kind of like a buffer for the equity, so it is an additional layer of security that works for seller finances. You're just really not going to want to put a second lien on anything that you're doing like a bank loan on. That's why the Morby is structured the way that it is. You have to be very cautious. If you have a bank loan and you have to, get something done down the road where there, like a UCC goes onto it, and that's 2 years down the road, that's going to be looked at a little bit different. That's not really going to trigger your loan, but like back to back, that's why the Morby is structured the way that it is. So okay,
Morby.
so I'll go.
Watch out.
Watch out. If financing falls through after DD expires, you could lose your EMD. Negotiate a financing contingency in the PSA that extends past your DD expiration date. Like Lance said earlier, the wholesalers that we're working with, has been really fun for me personally to look at their contract, because the way that they wrote it up, a little sneaky. On the seller side, they wrote it up that we have a 30-day due diligence period with a 2-week extension. But in the actual verbiage of the contract further down, it actually says that our due diligence period extends all the way through until we get clear to close. And that's a term that title uses that is typically given about 2 or 3 days before you actually close the file. So it could be up to 90 days. It was a really cool perk that that the wholesaler had put in there, and it gave us flexibility that through the funding process, through the terms, because all the way up until clear to close, the lender, comes back and checks your credit one more time. They check the park for any liens that are popping up. We've all been through this with single family.
Yep.
It's the same thing. It's just magnified. So
Yep.
they gave us that DD period until we get clear to close. Because once we get clear to close, the lender's like, I'm sending, $2 million to title. Everything is smooth. Let's
Right.
go. And so they've made it just a very smooth process for us. So just wanted to add that.
That one gold nugget, it could save you a lot of money and headache. Yeah. Did you talk? That was that part. So
Watch out.
the Morby tip, right? Bank at 65% LTV. Don't expect to get a 75-80% LTV on a loan to value. Okay, it's not going to happen on a commercial loan. Pretty common to see 65%, right? On a loan for a commercial property. That was a mistake we made on the last one we attempted to do. We didn't understand that it was anyways, a hodgepodge portfolio, a sixplex basically of mixed use, and we thought we'd get 75-80% like we would on a single family home. They don't do it that way. Lenders don't want to put that much risk into the deal, so it's going to be tighter.
The only one that's going to do that, I think SBA will allow a 10% seller carryback, but I believe, and don't quote me on this because I don't have a plethora of knowledge about SBA, but I believe SBA is going to want you to bring, 10 or 15% also. So they are going to, it might even be up to 25%. They might only fund as much as 65. You have to do the delta with the 10% seller carryback allowed. So get all those numbers correct from your lenders ahead of time. You should be able to get an estimate before you start sending out your LOIs on a park.
Yes.
Property inspection and negotiations. What to inspect. Once again, there are going to be different things that need inspecting for different parks, right? It's kind of like a thumbprint. A fingerprint. It's going to be specific to each park, but in general, you're going to want to hire a licensed commercial property inspector. You want to check roofs, electrical panels, plumbing, HVAC on all the structures. You're going to want to check the septic system, the pumps, any sort of well that's there, get a capacity report, water well systems, well or municipal pressure test, treatment equipment, roads and paths, surface condition,
check everything
drainage.
basically. We'll give you the
go through
slides
and just look at it like every single thing that you're looking at can and will break eventually.
Well, especially if the infrastructure is 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, like the older it is, the more deep into these items you need to get, for obvious reasons, right? If I buy a house that was built in 2023, I'm not too worried about the roof and some certain things like that. I can go check it, make sure there's no leaks. But, if this makes sense, especially the older you get on these parks.
Yeah, but just keep an open mind. Even something like having an arborist come out and look at the trees. Maybe there's high winds in the area. Maybe you need to chop down some of the trees to, save on wind insurance if you're down in the Houston or Beaumont area. Like, look at the park. Everything on the park is going to break or need to be repaired or could be a hazard. So just come at it from that mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. So number 3, or your 3 options after inspections. 1, if you find that the property needs some repairs on certain things that are like going to enable you from making a profit, or you don't feel comfortable moving forward with the deal in the current condition that the roof is in, or one of the septic tanks is leaking, let's say, you can go back to the seller, either ask them to fix it, or you can ask them to repair it before you close. Say, hey, look, I would like you, just like buying a house. How many of us have bought our own primary, right? You buy a house and it's not a brand new build. You go and say, hey, the paint needs to repaint, needs carpet, right? and you can actually have them take that. It's like a seller concessions, right? Well, they take it off the price tag, or they'll give you a little extra buffer in there. It's the same thing with this. You can renegotiate if you see some things that don't quite work out that wasn't in the agreement that was signed. If they didn't say it, they'll try and sneak stuff by you. So
Yep.
option 2, price reduction. You can do that too. Hey, I'm going to lower the price. I'm going to lower my offer. It's going to cost me XYZ amount to fix these, this, and this. Here's my new offer. Option 3, walk away. Right. I had a guy call me today in our community. He was just terrified. It's one of his first real properties, first like midterm rentals that he's buying. My wife kind of helped him structure the deal. And so anyways, he calls me, he's terrified, right? He's making his move. He's going to go for it. But he's like, man, I don't know, right? I don't think it's a good idea. He said, I'm going to shoot the pig in the head is what his comment was to me. I'm like, that doesn't sound good. He goes, yeah, I don't think it's a good deal. And I go, I talked him off the ledge. I go, brother, it's a great deal. It's a 2023 build, blah, 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 right? So he was ready to walk away. I told him, dude, go for it, right? I said, go for it. Do I need to let you back in?
Oh, is that what it is?
Oh, you froze? Okay.
I think I left.
Your volume is going to have to.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So anyways, yeah, you can get your EMD back, terminate the due diligence, prioritize structural. Watch out for septic fails. They can cost a ton of money. Yeah, never skip the septic.
Yep.
Let's see. Slide 5. You guys are troopers, man. How many people are in here? Almost everybody. What do we got? 30 people still in here. Man, you guys are badass. I want to be friends with all of you. No. Okay. Final stretch, guys, and then we're gonna rock and roll here. Okay. Legal and entity. LLC formed and in good standing order at the purchase. Get that ready before you buy a park, right? Have an LLC ready to go. Definitely get a holding company too, unless you have a living trust that you want to use, or a land trust that you can put it in. But 100% Wyoming holding company is where we have ours, and then have your LLC underneath it, right? One LLC for each park. Don't put it in an existing LLC. I highly recommend you don't do that.
Yep.
It's easier to get sued if all your stuff's in one LLC. Operating agreement signed by all members. Okay. Basically that outlines the operations, who's doing what in the deal, what partner's responsible for what part of the deal, right? Operations, management, keeping track of the numbers, keeping track of the tenants, this, that, and the other. Distribution of funds.
If there's a capital call. So it really goes over everything.
Who's going to hire the contractors, right? You need to have all that clearly written out in an operating agreement.
Your operating agreement is the Bible for your LLC. So
yep, that's right.
Don't chat GPT it.
Don't chat GPT it, guys. Come on. EIN obtained from IRS for the entity. Required business licenses in place. Assignment of existing leases and contracts. So RV parks, unlike a mobile home park, is also a business. Okay. A mobile home park is not a business. An RV park is. You've got a store. You have people coming in nightly rates. You have people coming in maybe to fish for the day, right? It's ran much more like a business than a mobile home park. So you want to make sure everything's in place, or that the business license transfers. You can transfer, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So again, this is not legal counsel. This is only educational content. So, financial closing disclosure, reviewed line by line, matches PSA, right? This is stuff your TC will do. Right? Look out for you.
The closing disclosure is going to come if you were getting a loan on the park. So if you're doing a seller finance, don't worry about that. That is loan specific terminology. But you also going to want to make sure that down payments wired to title, get a receipt confirmed, whether it's you, whether it's your PMP, PML, the lender confirmed final funding. The lender sends their money at that clear to close. Once title gives them clear to close is when they will send their money. You're going to want to send yours or have your PMP, PML send it around the same time. Seller carry note is finalized, gets signed through the closing process. They're going to give you a HUD. You're going to get your HUD right around the time you get your clear to close, and that's going to have it's the receipt from the transaction. So it's going to have purchase price. It's going to have all the attorney fees you're paying for, all the recording fees. It's going to have any sort of concessions or contingencies or repairs or anything in there. And then on the seller's side, it's going to have what they're paying off, any sort of debts, and then their side of closing costs. So the HUDs really need to be looked at. They are not final until everybody agrees on them. So if you see any discrepancies, look at them really hard, because you are going to have to pay that little line at the bottom. So make sure that you're not being overcharged and that nothing's been missed. And then all closing costs verified and accounted for. Your TC will help you with that, but ultimately it's your responsibility to sign off on it. The operational handoff, insurance binder in place, lender requires before funding. It takes a while to get an insurance policy in place. Maybe you'll use the same insurance company that the park has in place. If it's a good insurance company, maybe the seller doesn't recommend them and you want to go source your own. They're going to have a lot of questions for you. Utility accounts transferred to your entity. This answers that one question. Bank account, you want to have a bank account ready to go. I would not take over an existing bank account. It's just a little yucky. You can transfer funds at closing from the seller's account into title, and then back into your new account. Property manager, make sure that they're ready to go for day one after closing. Any sort of access to reservation systems and platforms, any sort of login, website, email accounts, you want to have all of those ready to go prior to close. You don't ever want to leave it to a seller to not go rogue. They're probably not going to, but you need to be better safe than sorry. So get all of those prior. I would say, 2 or 3 days ahead of time, and do not sign off on it if you don't have them. Don't say, oh, well, it's okay, I want to get the park closed. No, dig your heels in. I need all the passwords to, the stay list. I need to know how to get into the reservation platform.
Yep.
You don't want anybody, holding anything.
You gotta be tough sometimes. You cannot, you can't let people push you around. That's the problem I see a lot is title companies, TCs, sellers, brokers, right? You have got to be the one in charge if you're the buyer, right?
Yep.
You are the one in control of the situation, right? You've got to be the one driving the ship, steering the ship, and you got to get into uncomfortable conversations more often than not. So be prepared for those uncomfortable conversations and welcome them, right? You're going to learn and you're going to grow.
Yep. And that also goes into, keys, codes, gate access, master list of everything. Just put a little binder together. It's going to be a really nice, tidy place to keep everything. So I'll let Lance go over closing day, but let me go over the watch out and the pro tip. So just like any standard loan, don't change jobs, open new credit, make large purchases between loan approval and closing. Banks re-verify your financials right before funding. One change can kill the loan. So just be very cautious, especially if this, if the closing is extended, maybe 30, 60, 90 days more than you were expecting, just hang on, but don't do anything silly. It's very large and you don't want to jeopardize it. The pro tip, get the closing disclosure 3 days before closing. Like I said, just review it and make sure that everything is fixed. Most title agents and attorneys can, fix an incorrect number on a HUD in 30 minutes. It's not a huge deal. They just rebalance the sheet and then send it back out for signatures.
More common than not.
Yeah. So it happens.
Yeah, be prepared for delays in closing and delays with title, delays with lenders. It's just common. Don't get your panties all in a bunch, right? When things like don't happen in a timely manner, it just is how deals go. 99% of the time they don't go as planned, perfectly smooth. So just don't let that, stress you out too much and get you into a position to where you're terrified and you're scared that the deal's going to fall apart. Just communicate, over communicate. Communication is key. Make sure you've got that rapport built and that you can communicate openly, right out the gate. Over communicate. That's what we try to do as much as we can. That's the best thing I could tell you for that, because over communicating is going to put you in a really good place when something does come up, right? You're going to be able to let them know. Closing day. Okay. This was a lot of information crammed into an hour and a half. Wow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done this much had I known it was this kind of going into this much detail, because you need to touch on damn near every line here. So it's like, but you guys did great. So let's get to closing day. You did it. Sign, fund, record, right? Let's go. Welcome to the other side. Now the real work begins. So this is a lot. It's a commercial asset, though. We're
Yep.
talking multi-million dollars in most cases, one to multi-million, right? You want to be very careful and make sure you are dotting all your I's and crossing your T's. Sign, deed, promissory note, note, closing disclosures, and all lender docs. Title confirms all wires are received.
Yep.
Lender wires are funded, and lender wires funds. Okay. Title pays off existing loans. Deed recorded with county, and you are now the legal owner.
Yep.
Get the keys, codes, gate access, and all operational information, guys. Timeline at a glance here: 0 to 55 to 75 days. It kind of gives you a scope of what all takes place in that timeline. Congratulations, you're now an RV park owner, and this is where the hard work really starts. Right? I had her put that in there. I was like, you know what? That's really when the work starts, when you get the keys to the bad boy.
Yeah.
But guys, yeah. Who here? Anyone? Give me a one in the chat if this was super informed and a super informed video for you, Zoom, and you got a lot out of this. Give me a one in the chat. I'm gonna stop sharing now. Yeah, did you guys like this? And I apologize. Did I say Chris? Who's under contract right now in a park?
It was one of the very first.
Who was it? Is he gone already? Dang it.
May have
Who
had
was it?
to
Anyway.
leave.
Yeah, 1-1-1-1s. All right, Mike. Mike was taking notes. You see, Mike? Be like Mike. Okay. Mike was taking notes the entire time. That was really cool, man. I loved seeing that. Look at that. Even though it's blurred, I believe you, Mike. But I saw him going at it the entire time. I saw Chris taking notes, guys. I appreciate you. This kind of stuff drains me, right? All the words and stuff. And so, no, I am beat. I appreciate you guys. Reach out to me if you're interested in the coaching. Otherwise, we're going to do more of these Zooms. And somebody's joining. Oh, my wife's joining.
Yeah.
But
I wanted to check.
oh, Sean, was it Sean got a contract? All right, Sean, good job, brother.
We've
That's so dope.
10 minutes for questions. If anyone
Okay, yeah,
let's
let's.
stay on. I just told my
WWF.
attorney I could be
What
late.
was that? Did someone
I was going to say thanks. Great job, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes, you're welcome. Anyone have any
Thank you so much.
questions before we hop off? We got a few more minutes before my wife actually is getting on a call to help do some underwriting
Yeah.
with one of our students. 8:30. That's commitment. 8:30 at night here in Texas, and we're still working. We work till
guys.
9 or
Thank
10
you so
o'clock.
much, by the way.
Hey,
This
Lisa.
is like all the moving parts and so much to unpack.
It's a lot,
You
right?
don't realize how much is really involved.
You know.
So thank you. Lance, I mentioned in a comment earlier on Facebook that I have somebody that I'd like to connect you both to. She has about
Yes.
12 parks available.
Yes, that'd be amazing.
What is the best way to connect with you guys to connect you all together?
Yeah. A group chat, group text message would
Okay.
be best. I like
The
group
number
text.
that's on here.
Warm introduction, with a group text. Let's see. No, not this number. That's our CRM. It doesn't do group
Do you
messages.
want to send me the number in the chat?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Are you doing that or no? Okay.
No,
I thought you were. She usually is on that.
Sure. Awesome. I know it was a lot to cram in my mind. I was like, oh, this will be easy to get through in an hour. I forget that Lance likes story time.
There's my number, guys. Well,
Just really good for
Hey.
context. It's how we've learned most.
That's how I learn.
That we put on there.
Visionaries learn through stories.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to have pictures and stories. I got to see it. It has to play out in my brain.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
The words and the numbers. It's like
Yeah.
I'll fall asleep. I can't stay focused if
Yeah.
it's just all learning and teaching. That's just me. I was in the back of the class daydreaming, right? And here I am now with a multi-million-dollar portfolio.
Mhm.
Okay. Where's Timmy in the front of the class now? No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, anyone have any questions? You guys are awesome. You're welcome, Tammy.
Hey Lance, do we get a copy of
You
this?
will. Yeah, we're gonna
Okay,
send
cool.
out a copy by Saturday. We're trying to get them out by Saturday. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, it usually takes me a day. I can send the
Let's not overcommit.
slideshow out sooner.
No, let's just send it together.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
no,
send it
no,
with
no.
the video.
Yeah, we're gonna send it all together.
Say within about 48 hours, but I will send that to you guys. Please know that it is
Yes.
by no means encapsulating everything that you will encounter.
Oh no.
But it's what we've been through. It's through
Yeah.
it with both parks. So it should at least give you a good idea of what you're
altogether.
gonna encounter.
Yeah. Everything will be together probably by Saturday. We'll get it out for you. Anyone who's registered here will get a copy of the recording and we'll get the slideshow, guys. Okay.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, Gilbert. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, I'll email it, Tammy. I just go through, I pull out
You're
all the
welcome.
emails from Zoom and send it.
You guys, thank you so much. I appreciate the gratitude.
Yeah,
It really
thank
means
you.
a lot to me. I love pouring into you guys and anybody who wants to come on and learn. Invite your friends, invite any other RV park people. We're going to keep doing these Zooms and we're going to share as much information as we can to try and help you make a more informed decision, right? Especially if you're going to attempt or go into buying parks, right? There's a lot to learn and there's a lot, it can get really daunting and scary, right? I'm waking up with anxiety some mornings going, wait, I have to talk myself. Oh, okay, no, we're good. Okay, I'm fine. But it's slightly terrifying when you're starting to get into these bigger asset classes.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the cool thing: is it worth it? Absolutely.
Yep.
Am I building a legacy that my kids and their kids will be able to, live a comfortable life? Absolutely, I am. Right? We'll be retired within a couple of years. The way we're at the rate we're going, we'll be traveling the world, sitting on beaches. We'll be, hanging out with our family, going to Disneyland, whatever.
He will still be working.
I'm telling you right now. Well, I won't have to though. I won't have
He
to.
won't have to.
But I will, of course.
Yeah.
I love it. I love this. This is it
Yeah.
for me. This is my calling, right, in life. We sold everything we owned so we could do this, right? There's a reason why we sold our other business and moved. We wanted to go all in and do this, and I freaking love it. I do. So I
Well,
love you
this next
guys, and I
week?
appreciate you. Yep. What was that?
Next week, same time?
Same bat time, same bat channel. Yeah.
There you go.
Every week. All right, guys. Love you. Have a great
Thanks,
night.
everyone.
We'll talk to you
Thank you.
soon.